A very good evening and welcome to Rwanda Television News with me, Sam Kalisa. Beginning off, Catholic Christians who attended a church service in Kibeho Holy Land on Sunday said the message they received is going to awaken them in regards to helping the poor. The Kibeho Holy Land service was tied up with the celebration of the Catholic Church's International Day of Helping the Poor. While reflecting on the importance of the day, Cardinal Antoine KAMBANDA commended the Government of Rwanda for its efforts in caring for the poor and called on all citizens to make use of the support provided to them in this regard.
We are
happy that in our country, this is being done through different programs like Girinka, the VUP and other programs meant to help the poor. The first important thing is having that heart, and the second important thing is maintaining it, most especially helping the poor rise to higher classes and categories, as the saying, instead of giving a person a fish, teach them how to catch it, because that is what will earn them value and dignity.
This year, 2021, marks 5 years since Catholic Church leader Pope Francis initiated the International Day to Care for the Poor. This year, the day was used to reflect on a big number of poor people around the world that has increased due to the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. And moving ahead, local manufacturers are commending the fact that the market has been expanding. The Central Bank of Rwanda has confirmed that the export of locally manufactured products has risen by 58.3%, helping to reduce the trade deficit by 3.2%. Serge Nhore has the report.
The local manufacturers and traders say their client base, both in Rwanda and beyond her borders, has been steadily increasing.
With all these things, we try to combine them with the goods of Rwanda. So here, the dark chocolate, in fact, chocolate, the raw materials coming from Belgium, but here we combine them with pili pili. Chocolate coming from Congo, we make them as milk chocolate, and then we put them in the packaging.
Managing director at Eramor Garden. For us, the market is, because of COVID, everything was down, but nowadays it's, at least you can think, maybe I have something to sell and maybe the client is coming instead of sitting home in the lockdown. I can say that it's improving. For us, we do indoor potted plants and also gardening services for outdoor. We have the edible plants, herbs, vegetables, and we also have decorative plants. For us, what we can export, or the pots that we have that are also the most selling, they are the natural pots. So yes, also the painted ones are good, but mostly these ones. Our clients, 80% we get them from social media, experts, and also tourists that are living here or just visiting our country.
Rwandan locally made products are approved by people from different parts of the world.
We moved to Kigali recently, so it's great to now be able to decorate our new home with products, baskets and other products that are made here. We just bought a plant as well, a beautiful flower for our balcony, and we're really happy to be able to support all these initiatives locally.
This for me is very important, especially for Africa, to see that we have made in Rwanda products. It's a representation of Africa. We want to see much more of this kind of work being promoted in the continent. We have to limit our involvement in buying other stuff from other continents when we have young people that can do better products in Africa. So it's an encouragement.
The Rwanda Standards Board closely monitors all products sold in the country and exported as well, with more than 700 now bearing its S mark, 192 of them locally produced. Some prices are still high because production is low. But you know that factories have been expanding their operations, especially in the Kigali Special Economic Zone. And as production increases, the prices will fall. Despite the challenges that were presented by the COVID-19 pandemic, the Made in Rwanda initiative that was first introduced in 2017 has been pushing forward with good momentum, and the issue of expensive local products is being addressed. Those with the mark are happy because when their products are exported, the quality is assured and they do not undergo many inspections. The fact that we have international certification and are allowed to provide this service further boosts confidence in the country's exports. The central bank reports that the production rate of local industries has jumped to more than 11.6% compared to 3.2% in the previous fiscal year. An increase of 58.3% in the export of locally produced products has also helped reduce Rwanda's trade deficit by 3.2%.
Thank you very much, Serge, for the story. And still on this story, this evening we're gladly joined in our studio by the Made in Rwanda analyst and coordinator of the Made in Rwanda Secretariat at the Ministry of Trade and Industry, Mr. Cardinal Antoine. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, we're talking about Made in Rwanda and its participation in terms of increasing Rwanda's exports. And saying this, with the increase of Rwanda's exports and, of course, a 3.2% reduction in the trade deficit, is Rwanda on the right track of achieving balance of trade, owing it to the fact that Made in Rwanda is being promoted? How does it stand as of now?
Well, we're on the right track, but we still have a long way to go because most of the imports right now are machineries. And if you look to other countries like Vietnam or South Korea, for like 10 years or 15 years, they've been importing a lot of machineries before they achieve this trade balance. So the fact we have seen a positive recovery from the reports definitely shows what has been put in place as Made in Rwanda policy since it had been adopted in 2018. It's something definitely that is working. However, we still have maybe another 10 years before we reach that balance and become a net exporter.
All right, so it was mentioned in the story, Made in Rwanda products, mostly clothing, still expensive on the market. And yes, it should be, because most of the raw materials used in manufacturing these Made in Rwanda products are imported. So how so far is the country standing, or how is it planning to ensure that the raw materials are available so that even the prices can reduce?
Well, the cause behind those high prices, first of all, is matter of mass production. The market doesn't have enough Made in Rwanda product yet. Especially in clothing, and it's a good sign actually when people complain about it, because definitely there is a demand. And what we are doing at the Ministry of Trade and with other partners is first of all helping them to bring more machineries into their production, so we can have more product on the market. And through the NIRDA, which is one of the agencies of Ministry of Trade, we are helping small MSMEs to acquire the modern technology that they need to accelerate their production. And we've seen difference between 2015, when it was just a merry campaign about buying locally, and now where we have many manufacturers at Kigali special economic zones like Ifako and other Chinese like Pink Mango, who are producing a lot of clothing for export. And the price is going to fall. And again, it's a journey, as I said. Hopefully by 5 years from now on, we will reach a more acceptable level of pricing. And now, moreover, what's being done to make sure this production goes down, we have a lot of incentives we are putting in place. We have a lot of trainings that are going on. All those combined, definitely we are heading toward a much more affordable prices.
That's where I wanted to head, actually. As the sector, just like any other, are still fighting the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. For over 2 years, some of the businesses collapsed completely. How is the sector recovering, and how is the government of Rwanda planning to help some of these who even collapsed completely to get back on track?
Definitely, this COVID was, caused a lot of damage onto our industrial park. But thank God, the fact we had put in place this Made in Rwanda policy, we have, for example, identified a number of 90% of the industrial park. We know who is behind what kind of product, and what has been put in place is to encourage them to convert them into something else. For example, some have started to produce sanitizers or other kind of COVID-19 related products, where before that they used to produce something else differently. And has actually got a positive perception or opening eyes to those people, because they realize they don't just need to focus on one product. They can have a number of products, a huge catalog, and other things also for the people completely, let's say, died. We have some trainings that are going on, business clinics with the Rwanda Stock Exchange, where we are now trying to see if the business model can be revived under other spheres of activities. And at the same time, you know, there is a recovery fund that is being opened to up to the smallest informal enterprise, and help them, of course, to join the formal sector, but at the same time also getting access to cheap capital via what we call patient market, like the Rwanda Stock Exchange, where we can buy stock options. So it's a lot of effort and work that is being done on a regular basis.
All right.
But by the fact putting the Made in Rwanda Secretariat itself with the mission to follow up on everyone who definitely reach out to us in terms of helping them to recover or to progress, is a sign that the government of Rwanda is committed to make sure no one's died unless you decide to change the activity of life. But anyone who has any business that can help the Made in Rwanda sector to progress, he can reach out to us, and we will help them any way or another to recover or to grow. Let me say that way.
Can we say we're on the right track of recovery, sir?
Yeah, we are on the right track, because we've seen a lot of, for example, indicators that are telling us exports are growing. When you look to our market with DRC, the numbers are consistent. When you look also to export of commodities like coffee and other traditional areas like vegetables, our organic vegetables, the numbers are growing. But also we've seen some new sectors like refrigerators and all those home appliances we produce in Kigali and in Bugesera Industrial Park that are being started to be exported to Burundi and Tanzania. Those are signs that shows us definitely our industry is growing, and we need absolutely just to be near our private sector and make sure, as we wish, by 2035, 50, the economy is led totally by the private sector. And if you allow me also, I can mention that when you look what the government has been doing since 2015, for example, moving the industrial park from the wetland in Kondo to where it is today, and now to open more than 14 industrial zones in 30 districts, but also helping this Udukirilo, where young people start their small art factory or other kind of small business. You can see the government of Rwanda has put in place a structure that can absorb shocks like the one we've got from COVID-19. So definitely we're on the right track, and the numbers are talking what we're seeing.
All right, sir. One last one. I just have 20 seconds. With these businesses that had collapsed immediately, and that seemed not to be able to recover again and operate again, how are we so far helping them, and are the incentives reaching them? Are they benefiting from the recovery fund? How is it standing today?
Yeah,
just 20 seconds.
There are some grants, so they can reach out to the Ministry of Trade. Either they can write or visit the Secretariat of Made in Rwanda, so we can show them some grant that can help them to restart again if they wish to go back in the business.
All right.
That's what I can say.
All right. Thank you very much,
Thank
sir.
you for having me.
And of course, we'll be right back after. Stay on. Moving ahead, Christians and Muslims in Rwanda that have different religions or beliefs does not prevent them from living in harmony as being Rwandan is a common denominator. This is also part of a message that was delivered by the United Arab Emirates ambassador to Rwanda, Hazza Al-Katani, after a visit to Methodist Church in Kigali. Jen Mutoni has the report.
On Sunday, as Christians were off to church early in the morning, Muslims are in shops jazzing over tea called the vert. They all agree on the importance of living in harmony despite their difference in beliefs.
Having a bad relationship with your neighbor only pushes them farther from your ways or beliefs because all you'll have shown are bad example. As a Christian, it is important for me to live in peace with everyone. A Christian loves everyone. We are neighbors with others. We work together, and even politics brings us together, and many other similarities. The most important thing is for us to obey God because He's our Maker.
In the Methodist Church in Gikondo Parish, attendees are praising God. A special guest entered, the ambassador of the United Arab Emirates to Rwanda, Hazza Al-Khatani. In his address to the Christian community, he requested them to strive for a harmonious society, regardless of the different beliefs.
My message is to forget the past, be as much as tolerant with your community, regardless of your affiliation with Catholic or Protestant. The only way is to live in peace and tolerance.
The Reverend Dr. Rugambaji Samuel, pastor of Gikondo Methodist Parish, emphasized that peaceful coexistence is a commandment of God.
Jesus said that a good Christian should live peacefully with all people. So peace is a command from God, and that is the message we give to all people in these times, as there are different beliefs, religions and churches.
During a historic visit to Abu Dhabi in United Arab Emirates in March 2020, a pastor of the World Catholic Church entered the Muslim mosque. Pope Francis was delivering a message of peace among different religions. Hence, building a church near the mosque was the first step towards harmony. Since his first arrival in Rwanda, the ambassador of the United Arab Emirates to Rwanda has made efforts to sensitize religions to peaceful coexistence. Prior to the visit of the Methodist, he visited the Catholic Church. Observers say that he will continue this movement in other religions and churches as well. Jane Mutoni, RTV News.
Thank you, Jen. Moving ahead, Kigali city residents and communities are calling for professional patrols to work together to protect the infrastructure on highways and suburbs, as some are being damaged and others stolen. The city administration says it will not tolerate those caught in these crimes, as they will be treated as criminals. Jen Mutoni continues.
On a daily basis, modern infrastructure is being constructed or reconstructed in Kigali city. As these infrastructures are being built, the state is stepping up its efforts to install lights on roads and reconstruct water pipes with cement. Residents in the city say they are worried about thieves who are stealing power cables, road signs and signs warning drivers of commercial centers and water pipes. Some residents are calling for more professional patrols to work together to maintain this infrastructure. They also want employees who have the right to work in this infrastructure to wear work uniforms and have identification documents.
They were stealing power cables in various parts of the sector, and some gatekeepers caught them and reported them to the sector administration. These thieves are usually strong and are equipped and have cars. They even stole road signs. We are remained with 2, yet there used to be 5. In other words, the level of theft in Duba is high.
The city of Kigali says this issue has worsened on some of the city's roads, especially the ones that are under construction. The vice mayor in charge of urbanization and infrastructure in Kigali, Dr. Mhabwanamaguru Merad, said they will not tolerate anyone engaging in these crimes of stealing and damaging infrastructure, as there were also cases of theft and destruction of projects established by entrepreneurs before even being inaugurated and are difficult to repair.
We are truly concerned about this issue, as we also have a high demand from residents for infrastructure. So it is unfortunate that we have to deal with theft, which is hindering the establishment of it sometimes by entrepreneurs. In most cases, those that steal power lines are usually skilled in this field or even have experience working in power plants. Also, there is an issue of residents not taking the initiative to check those that are working in the infrastructural activities if they are qualified.
Dr. Mabgana Magurmered urges the public to be vigilant and check if the people working on the infrastructure have the necessary documents and are wearing professional uniforms. Currently in Kigali City, 8.6 kilometers of power lines have been stolen, 16 road signs have also been stolen, and manhole covers have been stolen and others damaged. Jane Mutoni, RTV News.
Dairy farmers in Gicumbi district have been calling for a project to set up a processing plant there to be sped up so that they can supply it with their milk. District authorities said the feasibility study for the project will soon be complete and that the money to implement the project is sought.
4 years ago, the dairy farmers in Gicumbi decided to start fundraising among themselves to set up their own milk processing plant, and they have now raised slightly more than 360 million Rwandan francs. We have realized that the milk we collect as a cooperative is much less than it should be because some of our members sell theirs on the side and it is not tested to see if it meets quality standards, which is a problem. Getting our own factory would mean increasing our milk production and producing things like cheese, yogurt and powdered milk. A factory would mean more employment, be it for us and others in the area, and it would help our district develop. The Farmers Cooperative President says the money the members have raised over the years is not enough to build a factory, which is why help is needed from the government if it is going to be possible anytime soon. The farmers are wondering what the point of leaving that money sitting in the bank idle is and have been asking us to give it back to them. They have become discouraged in the whole endeavor. But if we are able to build that factory, it would solve the problem of excess milk and we would not have to rely only on the government buying it for its daycare centers. The feasibility study for the factory is being carried out by the local administrative entities development agency, and in June it was presented to other concerned authorities for deliberations. The Gicumbi authorities say it will be ready by the end of this year. The farmers should be a little more patient because we can tell them that in December it will receive its final approval, and then all that will be left will be the fund mobilization, starting with what they themselves have saved up, and then adding the support that will be provided by His Excellency the President of the Republic, and construction activities for the factory will begin. Gicumbi district has 43,350 cows that produce 101,000 liters of milk every day.
And moving ahead, farmers who work with the Rutsiro tea factory say the way it has been treating them has helped them to develop. This comes as the factory is looking to expand its plantations by 409 hectares. Serge Nore continues.
Since opening its doors in 2014, the factory has been steadily employing more and more local farmers and now has close to 2,000 people working for it. A contract provides security and peace of mind for an employee because once you have one, you're assured of a salary. Even if they were to fire you due to misconduct, the contract must first be lawfully terminated. In addition to the 450 hectares of tea plantations belonging to local farmers that supply the factory, it owns 339 of its own and is now adding another 409 to raise its daily production up from the current 14 tons to 25 tons of tea leaves. In 2018, after we realized that demand for our tea was much higher than we were able to supply, we decided to expand our plantations. We believe that in 3 to 4 years, we will max out our productivity levels. The The factory is able to produce and export 9 different types of dry tea leaves depending on the demand, and quality cannot be compromised. The quality of the tea may change from 1 hour to the next depending on the process used and other factors, which is why we taste it every 60 minutes to ensure that it remains good. Our tea is completely organic because we use manure and not industrial fertilizers, which is why people love it and demand is high. The Rutsiro Tea Factory is one of 7 owned by Rwanda Mountain Tea Limited.
And on behalf of the entire news and technical team that made it happen, thank you very much for being with us. My name stays Sam Kalisa, wishing you a very good evening and a fruitful week ahead.